What if the way you see the world is the very thing that is shaping your experience of it? And I'm not talking about the circumstances and not the headlines or not even the people around you, just perspective. What's good, Elevation Nation? And welcome to the Elevated Podcast, where it stands for inner tugging, the divine pull within, and where we focus on supporting emerging leaders in self-awareness and relationships and spiritual unfolding through inner work. I'm your host, Christian, and joined with my beautiful, lovely best friend, life partner, and wife, Lynisha. How you doing?
I'm great.
You good?
Mm-hmm.
I gotta go see my Let's Go, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Now let's go! I gotta do it. Okay? Cool. All right, so listen. Well, can I pour you a couple?
Sure.
A glass of water? Is that okay?
Yeah.
I can pour you a glass of water? Okay. Well, I want to be careful that I don't mess up nothing right now, okay? Go ahead and pour you a glass of water right now, okay? That good?
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Okay. Good. Put that down there. All right. All right. Good. Do you know how I feel about my water? Okay. Anybody who knows me knows that I drink a lot of water. And if we're really honest, I could be a bit of a water snob, just like a little bit, right? Just a little bit. You okay?
If that's what you call a little bit.
Well, anyway. So listen. When I first saw the Mayu Swirl, like I knew I had to have it. So I got my hands on one. Listen, y'all, right? And let me tell you that I've been drinking from this thing every day since it arrived. And so it's not, I can't just drink it from any cup. As y'all see, like our regular Elevated podcast, the mugs didn't quite make it. And as a matter of fact, I think nothing but glass has touched this or greater, right? Because I'm around the house in wine glasses just drinking the swirl water. All right, come on, somebody, right? So to be honest with you, like I just believe that it deserves the best, and there is a difference in the area of the taste, right? So for me, it's been a smooth taste. I mean, I've sat with tap water, the purified water, spring water. I've tried all types of combinations, and I'll even give you guys a little glimpse of the unboxing and I'll call it the unfolding on brand. So where we're dealing with it right now to kind of see what's going on. So you might be saying, all right, Christian, so outside of this hand blown glass and this beautiful design, what makes this so special? And I'm glad that you asked, because it uses innovative Vortex technology to naturally aerate and revitalize your water. So it's mimicking how water like moves in nature. Come on, y'all, it's movement in there. It's a word right there, somebody. So the swirling motion, it infuses the oxygen into your water. So it improves that taste, that quality of it. And so I'm not exaggerating. Like I'm telling you, it's the smoothness of it. And I can't just have Lyneesha go ahead and take a sip. Like I got to do it on myself. But I want to put my pinky out because I'm fancy. Like it's smooth. So it's smooth, right? And so I think it says like 5 to 7 minutes. Mm-hmm. I think we've had it on there maybe 20, 40 minutes in there. And so it's just smooth. So anyway, if you love good water and you want smooth water and you're serious about elevating, y'all see what I did there? Elevating your hydration game. I'm going to encourage you to go ahead and grab yourself one. We have an affiliate link that is also in the area of our bio. Cool. So now back to our regularly scheduled program. Today. You want to type it? You say it out loud. Today, we're having a conversation around the perspective that changed everything for me. That sounded a little preachy, a little bit.
It does.
Now that I put it out there, we just say, I can rewind. No, it's out there. No, I'm not going to take it back. I am who I am. Operator, y'all been around with this for a while, okay? So I'm going to go right to you, beautiful, just because, you're here and they've heard me talk so much. And so, you don't know where I'm going.
No, I always feel like I'm set up every time I come on here. Go ahead.
I feel like you're set up?
Mm-hmm.
Why? We love Elevation Nation. We love having my beautiful wife next to me. I look better. The water is even better when you're around. Okay? So get straight to it.
Yes.
All right. So can you think of a time that you can share with us, Elevation Nation, all right, where you felt like a major obstacle, looking back on it, was actually a gift in disguise?
Yeah, so I was trying to think of something because you like major obstacle.
Okay.
And then
Minor obstacle.
and so it took me all the way back to when I got my first like real job out of college.
Okay.
And so I worked for a finance company, as you know. But I started, even though I had a finance degree and an accounting degree, I still ended up starting in what basically was a call center. So we took calls and helped people with their investment accounts, answer questions, process transactions, things like that. So it was I don't want to say it was a hard job. It was a not so fun job.
Okay.
Right? Every once in a while, you got that very pleasant person that you enjoy talking to. Mostly someone in retirement doesn't have a lot of people to talk to. So they like calling in and having a conversation, really didn't need help, but they were nice. But I did not like the job. Like I was in it for 5 years, I think. And it just was like, it tested you every day. You felt like you were being tested, like your patience was being tested, your character was being tested, like every day. Cause most of the time you were getting the difficult client, the person that had a problem with something and that, you know, they needed help with something and they didn't like it or whatever. And so, but you know, we were training well. I loved my coworkers. I loved the environment I was in. I just didn't enjoy the actual job that much. So for me, it was like, what's the next thing? You know, constantly on there looking for something to open up, looking for an opportunity. And it just seemed like it felt like, what is it, like a vortex where you kind of just get stuck inside? Yes, exactly. I felt like I was in that swirl, just like moving around, going with the motion. Yeah. And there was no way out. Like it just felt like I was stuck. And so it was frustrating.
Yeah.
But then eventually after like 5 years, I think it was, I'm trying to remember, it was a little time ago. I was able to, while I was still there, I was able to take what they would call like an internship. So, and I'm getting somewhere. I know my story's a little bit long, but
we got time.
I was able to get what they called internships. So within the company, sometimes you were able to get a quote unquote job in another department, but you weren't actually hired into that department, like with the pay and with all of that the promotion or whatever it may have called for. You just were doing the job to kind of get the experience, see what it was about, see if you fit with the team, whatever. So I got to do that for a while. And that was with like compliance. So it was still same department, but just like another branch of it where we were doing like the compliance of the department for the department. And I kind of enjoyed that. But, you know, when the internship was up, they had already filled the permanent spot. So there was no space for me on that team. So I ended up, thank God, finding a job in marketing, which is what I do today. Different from what I did there, but still it opened me up to the marketing team. We work closely in proximity to the actual like marketing team who did like the ads and stuff like that. So that was cool to kind of sometimes be able to look over their shoulder and see what they were doing. Mine was not as fun as theirs, but nonetheless, like I learned a lot. And so all of that to say today in owning my own business in marketing, having to deal with people, I have to do customer service. Yeah. I don't have a call center, right? I have to take calls, or I have to answer emails, or I have to address concerns, questions. Like I have to do all of that. I have to make sure that I'm doing things in compliance. And if I'm not, then I got to figure out how to fix it. So looking back, all of that helped me. And you know, I refer to customer service all the time because I did it for so long. So I kind of have high expectation for it. But it prepared me. It prepared me to have the patience and understand, like I dealt with from A to Z a type of person.
Yeah.
In those 5 years, like being on the phone and just not knowing who was going to be on the other line, like not sure, but knowing that I had a service to provide, even if it wasn't that enjoyable in the moment, I was going to give them the best service I could.
Yeah.
And I carried that with me into what I'm doing today. So being able to provide that service, that top-notch service to my customers now, well, you know, I hold it a little bit more dearly and closely.
Sure.
But nonetheless, like I learned that from those 5 years in that vortex, right? The 5 years that I felt like I was stuck.
We
and
should
like,
just call this the vortex.
What am I doing in this?
Yeah.
Like, why am I still here?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so, like I said, gained cool relationships, had great management, things like that. But I took all of that and I was able to now pull that experience into what I'm doing today, which I really do enjoy and I love. And there's still parts of the job. It also helped me realize there's usually, I'll say, going to be something, even in the things you enjoy, that have to be done because it's just part of the process that might not be so fun. But at the end of the day, it is allowing you to do what you love to do. And so that's my story.
Wow. No, that's good. That's good. Since we're talking about the vortex, might as well, you know, get that thing going again. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get the swirl going. Okay. Pertaining to the vortex. I love it. And I'm wondering, Elevation Nation, if we're, at a place, if anybody's been at a place where, you can identify with that swirl, right? Can y'all zoom in? Okay. Maybe not. Anyway, where you can identify with what Lynisha is talking about, and being in that place where you're like, either at a place where you're like, okay, like I know that this was rough or this is rough. Maybe you're in that season where it seems like it is rough for you and you can't necessarily look back because it's already the obstacle for you, right? It's before you, it's there with you. And maybe you're able to sit there and say, okay, well, if I look at this, if I can see those things, if I look within, I can go ahead and see that this is working together, even for my good, because that's what we've said. That's what we believe, coming from that posture and from that place as well. Lynisha said it was like a vortex. Sometimes you feel like you're going in that swirl, going around and around and around, wondering, why am I here? What's the benefit of this, right? And so even as we're going to continue to go with this, but it's aerating. The vortex is also giving that air, right? I'm going to go from the area of life and wind and realize that. So even when you're realizing like, okay, I'm in a place, but in that swirl, in that thinking, and that feeling, in that spiral. It doesn't have to be a spiral necessarily that you're going to spiral out of control, but maybe there is one that is actually aerating your life and giving you power and equipping you for the season. And the thing is, how I resonate with what you're saying is, for me, looking back in the obstacle is like real recent. Everybody who's been following my journey has been able to see that I've had fallen in this comparison trap pretty heavy. And so when you're looking at the area of the vortex and even seeing those things, like I found myself in that pattern and that swirl. But for me, it was like, going after, I always set a high goal for myself. You probably don't know this about me. I set,
well, we learn something new every day. So
I set these, high goals for myself. Right. And so when things wouldn't go as planned, like, I would start, I'm thinking about the passage, one of my favorite passages, and Judge is talking about the uprooting yourself, the parable of the trees. You uproot yourself just to wave back and forth. So not only would I look at uprooting myself, but I'm also looking at other trees, so to speak. I'm looking at other people, other businesses, other influences, other things. And I'm saying, okay, my level isn't growing. I'm not growing as quick. So I put this pressure on myself, lowering myself, right? And dealing with different types of things and realizing like, okay, this is a situation. This is a place where it's not really helpful for your area of your journey. And what happens when you find yourself in that type of vortex and you find yourself in that comparison trap and you find yourself not appreciating where you are, I've found that you can miss the moment that you're actually in at that time. Now, we talked about looking back, but I'm encouraging us to look within as well, like right where you are. We've been talking about seasons, and I promise y'all, I will talk about seasons in a post, in a blog, in another podcast episode. We'll go deeper in this because this has really been blessing my life, but it's tied to the law of rhythm, excuse me, and the law of relativity. Mm-hmm. And so with the area of the law of rhythm, it's like we're realizing that things, you know, they got rhythm. It's that ebb and flow, right? Within that up, that down, it stays the same. But the season that I'm in and the season that you're in may be different seasons. As a matter of fact, where we currently are, that is different seasons.
Yeah.
But if I'm looking at your season, I can miss what I'm learning and what I need to deal with. Yeah. Doc sent me a video of Kev on stage. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've seen this one or not, but he's just talking about like dreaming.
No.
And he's talking about how, you know, long story short, he's just like, you know, he can remember years ago praying like, God, if I'm not, you give me these glimpses, you give me these desires. If you're not going to let me get to them, then like take them away type of situation. And so he was just basically the whole, you know, the message was like, a lot of those things took place. He said, now I'm still bald. So you don't get everything that you pray for, you ask for. He said, but a lot of it takes place. It just helped me to realize like the season even that we're in. So the moment that changes everything, that perspective that changes everything for me is that area of realizing that you have to make the choice to enjoy your season no matter where you are.
Yeah.
And I think for me, that's the thing that I'm learning to deal with and do. And with the company that you were working with, right, that you enjoyed so much,
yeah.
Can you kind of tie that together to kind of see a perspective that shifted? And maybe it didn't happen in that place. Maybe it happened now. Talk to me.
I think for me, it was finding ways to still do things that I enjoyed, even though I was still in that space. So, for example, like I said, I found that I was able to do the internship. You know, I looked for opportunities to get away, at least even if it was for a part of a day, or even if it was for, you know, whatever, you know, a short season where I was able to step away and do something a little bit different. So I wasn't taking calls all day long. I took the time when it was slower to connect with the people around me, have conversations, laugh, do things like that. I enjoyed the team, the camaraderie, things like that were good. So sometimes those things helped to shift the perspective of the overall situation, right? So I can't say that I, in the moment, thought, hey, you know, I'm going to use this one day. Like, I didn't see that. Yeah. I didn't really, you know, I didn't foresee that connecting with what I would maybe do with my life. Yeah. For the long term.
Till after you were.
Till after. It's like retrospect. Yeah. Like now I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I see the dots that were connecting that I couldn't see at the time. But I think like always, like I've talked about on here before, like having the option or the choice to look at your situation differently is a game changer. Yeah. It's a game changer. Like you can be in a situation where like, listen, I know right now this isn't going anywhere, or this particular thing is not changing the way I want it to change. Mm-hmm. So what can I do differently? Or how can I look at this differently so that I'm not looking at this like it's a obstacle?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Or like I'm spinning out of control in the vortex.
Right. Yeah. How do we shift that? Another moment while you were talking made me think about it too. I think another moment for me was being honest with myself. I think that helped to change everything for me because, you know, you could, I don't know if y'all know that, but you could lie to yourself.
Yeah.
Do y'all know that?
And believe it.
Well, I think that's the part. Like you convince yourself. Yeah. Right. That, okay, that I'm not doing this or I'm doing this or whatever. But listen, get around somebody who is really operating from a Christ conscious perspective and the light will be shown. And you have to humble yourself and come from that level. But yeah, being honest, seeing those things, being able to go ahead and look within, I think that's a great place for us to even say, you keep going back to this vortex. What's up with this vortex and you?
I don't know.
You just keep
no
you there?
idea.
You have no idea. Just that wasn't planned or anything. You didn't
Nope.
script that in.
I didn't, and I didn't even when I said it the first time. I didn't even think about your display here.
Yeah.
I literally, that was just a word that
Don't
came
disrespect
to me.
it by calling it just a display. This is life right here. This is the aerated life.
Yeah, all that it is.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Go with that a little. Let's go with that a little bit. All right, because the perspective shift, how sometimes it's none of our business.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna say, what do we do?
Yeah. Well, I think it's a choice.
We make a decision.
We make a decision, right?
That's...
I can be in a situation that I might not necessarily be enjoying.
Okay.
And in that, I have the choice. I have several choices. I could walk away and take whatever that comes with that. In that moment, I could have walked away from the job, and then that meant no paycheck, right?
True.
Or I could choose to just be mad.
Okay.
And stay upset and stay angry or frustrated or whatever feeling I'm feeling in that moment. I could stay there. That's a choice. Or I could choose to say, okay, I'm in this. This is the job I got to do, or this is the situation I'm in, or this is the hand that I'm dealing with right now. I'm working with right now. I'm going to make the best out of this. I'm going to find a way to enjoy this or find joy in it or just be joyful. And those are all choices. I can't remember. I really need to learn this stat because it blew my mind when I read it. But how many choices we make in a day? And like literally everything is a choice. Everything. Me choosing to be mad over the situation I'm in is a choice. I don't have to be mad about it, regardless of what it is.
But can the madness choose you, or you got to choose the mad?
Well, I think, sometimes anger or frustration or disappointment, whatever sneaks up on you. But once you realize or recognize what it is, you got a choice to keep staying in that, or what some people might say, stew in that, and let it cook and let it ferment and cause all other types of issues, or find the life in it. Find the light in it.
Yeah. The aeration in it. Anyway, I think sometimes I forget that I have a choice. And I think it goes back to the programming and goes back to the imprints and stuff like that we've talked about and that we've learned through Success is Spiritual. And because you had that default mode, like you're used to responding a certain way for years.
Yeah.
You go back to the mat mentality and you're like, yo, like this is what it's been. So for me to come up out of here, like to really rise up, to really pick up my mat, to really walk, then that's something else. Right. And I know it's simple. I understand that. And I think that because I don't want to, I'm just sharing my story pertaining to that, but it's not an excuse to stay where you are. I think being honest with self and realizing that, like, it's going to sound weird saying this, but sometimes you like being mad. Yeah. Or you like being angry, or you like the fact that you're fussing. Like, I can't, we've talked about this. There's so many situations that give us an opportunity where we could choose to fuss at what's going on in our nation, what's going on in our bank accounts, what's going on in our family, what's going on here. And we just talk. And we do those things and we're building a case and we're doing those things. And then we are like wondering why it's so hard for us to now be in a place of gratitude. Right. Or we visit gratitude in our AM and our PM, but then the rest of the day we're in lower vibration. And so I think that's the part where I it's pausing. I'm thinking about President Obama, and you know how when I hear him speak, I always am like, why is he like calculated? And I'm like, But processing that, I'm learning there is peace in the pause. Like if hold on, I don't have to get an answer real quick. Let me just think about that. Let me look at why did that, I've been doing that more recently. Why did that piss me off?
Yeah.
And what can I do to shift that? Like, oh, I don't have to be pissed off at that anymore.
Right.
And it really can be that simple.
Yeah.
If I sit down and allow myself to align with the divine. So for you, where is this God sense pulse frequency within your processing and with you operating from a newer perspective? Like, where does that come into play? Because we know we believe in the area of oneness and our life is the life of God, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes you can forget that. So what is that alignment for you? What does that look like?
So I'm going to go back to what I just said a few minutes ago. So I apologize for sounding repetitive, but
Apologies needed.
It goes back to a decision. Like, I've chosen that I'm going to be in gratitude. I've chosen that I've decided that I'm going to be in joy. Like, these are my daily confessions, call them whatever you want, affirmations,
mantras,
whatever you want to call them. But these are daily reminders for me.
Yeah.
This is what I'm choosing. And so I think that as I'm doing that, as I'm putting it into my prayer life, I'm putting it into my quiet time, I'm repeating these things to myself. I say them out loud sometimes. Like, I'm rewiring.
That's good.
And so it's not even necessarily that I can say, okay, A, B, C, D, these are the steps to now be able to shift in these situations. I think it's just that I've chosen this for my life. And so I'm teaching myself and I'm rewiring, I'm reprogramming. Like you said, we've been programmed to a default because of how we've grown up, because of our experiences, whatever it might be. Now I'm choosing to rewire to what I want. And so as I do that, I think it's just something, I don't know all the scientific stuff, but something clicks.
Yeah.
Like, when I'm in the middle of choosing what doesn't align, something is like, like you feel it. And in that moment, okay, now ABC, which choice are you going to make? Are you going to choose what you said you want, or are you going to choose this other thing? And, you know, another big thing for me has been in my healing journey is choosing to be me, right? Choosing to show up as me wherever I am.
Yeah.
And
you do an amazing job at that.
Thank you.
I'm serious.
And if it reminds me, when you were talking earlier, I thought about one of my favorite stories in the Bible, and that's about Joseph. And, you know, when Joseph was put in all those crazy situations, right? But one thing that remained the same was he showed up as him everywhere he was, in the pit, in the prison, in the palace, like everywhere he still was him. Yeah. And he still, in my eyes, in my perspective, was grateful, prayerful, faithful. Like, he was still choosing to show up and as all of those things, even in what some might consider undesirable situations, unfortunate situations, desperate situations. And in those, every single one of them, no matter how bad they were, every time there was favor, right? And so I even look back at the story of my job that I was talking about, how when I was starting to choose, okay, I'm just going to focus on this and I'm going to, you know, do well and I'm going to connect with people and, you know, trying to shift the way I was addressing or showing up at the job when opportunities showed up that I didn't necessarily go after. Like, my manager came to me and said, hey, this internship, I think you should try it. Okay. Like, So things like that, I think as you choose to show up as you make that decision for yourself, as you sit down and sit with yourself and say, hey, what do I actually want my life to be? And then you start teaching yourself and rewiring and reprogramming yourself to know that those things are true.
Yeah.
And that you're worthy of them.
Yeah.
And, like you said, being one with God, being one with the divine, like that I already am those things. Then the opportunities and the options and the choices begin to just show up.
Yeah. You said that self-worth thing. Yeah, that hits. Here's my Obama pause. Because, I mean, for years, and I still, process this and get with this, like, you can say the right thing. It sounds good.
Yeah.
But I mean, and I think that's the part, like, I've been exhausted from. Like, I've spent a lot of sermons. I've spent a lot of coaching. I've done this, and it works. It's real. It's true. It's not that I'm going back to say that the stuff was wrong.
Right.
But that embodiment piece, really believing what it is that you were saying, let me piss you off and let me see how you responding to those things. Like, let's deal with those particular situations at time that really test the area of the embodiment of that. But like, I celebrate because we know, just like when we're sitting with clients, it's like, I'm not giving you no new information.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why I love the fact of me going through the area of remembering who I am, as opposed to trying to say I'm finding out who I am.
Yeah.
Because the divine is within me, like, knows. Now, all these patterns, all these thoughts, all these beliefs, all these things that we've believed within those, we've tag team within those beliefs. Sometimes we can forget who we are. And so even in that own thing, and it's just fresh for me. And so that's that process that you see me at, like, man, I can't say I've shown up as myself through everything. I feel like I'm navigating that. And sometimes you could be in that swing where you extreme, like you now at a place where you like, I'm pissed that I was in the area of bondage, and now I'm pissed, and so don't come my way because you're gonna get what it is. We're just what Elliot say, you're gonna get that smoke, right? And not even realizing that, but it's that shedding season and stuff that happens as well. But this is another reason why I think one thing that I know is the power of looking within. And when I'm looking within, that's that area of meditation and quietness and stillness when everything else gets to go away, where you really start to sit and see where that true value is. And it's funny because there's a voice for me that will hit, babe. And it's like, I know, like, my divine voice within gives me all that great and awesome and power things. But this is also another voice that speaks up at times and questions the things that I know within. And then don't let me hear somebody external who kind of mimics what the other voice was saying. Now I'm backtracking and I'm doing this and I'm, you know what I'm saying? And then with that. And so anyway, it's all the virtual cookies within, and then all the algorithms within, and all this stuff comes, and then you find yourself in a place. And so I think too, if you're in a place where you are unfolding and you are trying to figure out what's going on, like, once you find out what is working, that's why I love the universal law, because it works no matter what. It doesn't matter what race, it doesn't matter what culture, what belief, what religion. The universal law, God's law, it works. And so understanding that and sitting with that place, sometimes you can take your time and process. And I think that's the biggest thing I'm learning too now in the season, is that my pace is my pace.
Yeah.
Like, and that should be freeing, but that is a decision. Like you're saying, I was taking notes while you've been talking. For me, not in me, but I mean, I'll share them with y'all, but for me, okay? Because being honest with yourself, choosing gratitude, making a conscious decision daily towards what you want or what you see. That's just stuff that you were saying. All right, y'all, come on, y'all put that out there. This is good stuff, right? The choice, what choice are you going to make? You said that hit me too. Like, okay, Like in the moment, I could be upset. I could choose to feel low. I could choose to feel comparison. I could choose to feel this or could choose to believe this, but that's not who I truly am.
Right.
And that's not benefiting.
Right.
What is, see, I told you, we know.
What good is that doing?
We know.
Yeah.
What to go ahead and do.
Mm-hmm.
But those other situations. And then you irrigate your eye gates. I've been saying this recently too. It's been blessing me. Close your outer ears and your outer eyes just to sit with that. And there's another thing I've been saying too, y'all. You ready? Is I love my season, but I love yours as well. And they've been saying this on social. I'm a little late to it, but I love that for you. And that's the approach on my second one. It's kind of like I'm enjoying where I am, but I really do enjoy that. I like that for you.
Yeah.
I like that. And that I now can value both without lusting over the other one, because in the area of oneness, your season is connected to my season.
Yeah.
Your season is connected to my season. And as I'm continuing to align, I'm going to hit that season and you're going to hit my season, because seasons change. So if I'm in the area of spring, when things are starting to sprout, then I got to realize, okay, I'm going to start beginning opportunities.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm dealing with in the area of spring. But in winter, it might not be that.
It gets a little dormant.
Yeah. But that might be a resting season.
Yeah.
But when I'm in rest and you in summer, right?
Yeah. But when you think about the big picture, that's always happening.
True.
Right. You know, and that's where it kind of helps you get back on a level playing field. Cause that's that specialness that Doc talks about, where like, I'm going through the winter. Why isn't everybody going through the winter? Right.
Yes.
They in the Caribbean enjoying 80, 90 degree weather, but I'm in snow.
Yeah.
Right? Why I gotta be but it's all happening at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so being able, and I love what you said about really appreciating and loving your own situation and what you're getting from it, but also loving and appreciating wholeheartedly, genuinely what somebody else is.
That's a choice.
It's a choice. And something I just heard on social media that Kelly, I think, is it Kelly Rowland from Destiny's Child? Sure. Kelly. So
I'll
anyway,
look it up for you while you're talking. Okay.
I think it's Rowland. I don't know how to say her last name. But anyway, she was saying,
But Kay and Kendrick Lamar came up, but
that's gonna happen for a while.
Yes, it is.
She was saying, how, don't belittle or little somebody else's
Roland,
something like that, ROW, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. We got your name right. Okay. Yep.
She was saying, don't belittle somebody else's situation or accomplishment or wherever they are. For example, when they were coming up in the music world and they had finally gotten what people would call their big break. And they're like, but people would still say, oh, your little music thing, or oh, your little, oh, your little contract, or oh, your little show or whatever. And belittle it because they didn't understand the process or the journey that got them where they were. To them, it was huge.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
To you, overcoming this one thing is huge to you, because how long did it take you to even realize that was an option?
Man.
Right? And so I can't look at your journey and say, well, you should have been.
Yeah, should have been over that.
You should have been known that. You should have been doing that. You should have been like, your journey is your journey, right? And mine is mine. And somebody could look at me and think the same thing, instead of us all choosing and realizing we're all on the same team. Like, we're all on the same team. We're all on this journey together. And once we realize that, the judgment starts to go away, because, man, like, I might not understand.
Yeah.
I might be in a situation where I'm looking at your situation and I'm like, oh, Like, I feel bad for that situation. I'm looking at this situation like, man, I'm ready to get there.
Yeah.
That's the comparison trap, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when I can look at them and appreciate right where they are and say, God, I know you're doing something amazing in that person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though I might not see it yet.
Yeah.
Or they might not see it yet.
Yeah, that made me think. I don't think I seen it on the Super Bowl, but I wasn't looking at that particular time. I was looking at different apps and different things. My mind was in different places.
Everywhere.
Yeah, but I do recall the last game when we were away for my birthday, and I think I really appreciated how. So who was that? That was the Eagles against Washington. So at the end, somebody on a Washington team, as y'all can tell, I'm not the one that's in the area of the sports. Lynisha actually is in Hurricanes. So let's go with that. Okay. The Commanders went up to an Eagles player and gave them dab, love, so forth and so on.
Yeah.
So even though we lost, there still was an area of I celebrate what it is for you.
Yes.
And so I don't know if that happened in the area of the Super Bowl per se, but
it did, I think
that's
to some degree.
That's speaking to what you're talking about as well. Like, okay, in here, we doing our role, we're doing what we got to do, but at the end of the day, I still respect and honor and celebrate your Super Bowl, even if in this particular season it's not. But I can learn so much. I did get to the Super Bowl, right? I did do this. I did this experience and all that stuff. And I think that's that pressure too, that either win or lost, and there's nothing in between.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like one of our favorite movies when we were younger together. If you're not first, you're last.
Oh, yeah.
Like that mindset.
Talladega Nights.
That mindset is real for some people.
Absolutely.
I didn't get the goal, so I suck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And we forget the journey. Yeah. We forget everything we learned, everything we gained. Like you said, I love watching the Olympics. We watch it together and, all those people, somebody's going to get the gold. And that means the rest of the people don't. But they all made it to the Olympics out of how many millions of athletes in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Perspective. And I think that's what this whole thing boils down to, your perspective and what perspective you're choosing. Yeah.
I love it. Can you leave us with a word of encouragement? I always ask my guests, even my co-hosts, to go ahead and do that. You've been talking good. So who says that? You've been talking good. See, all types of things hit my mind. Anyway.
I probably say this every time I'm on here, but be you, love you, embrace you, and just really, choose to enjoy the journey. I know people say that and it sounds like a cliche, but when you actually do choose it, when you're not just saying it, when you're not just reading it on social media and liking it and sharing it because you think it sounds good, but you do truly choose it, your life will change. And I'm not talking about the outward appearance of life. I'm not talking about, you're going to get this great promotion because you changed your outlook, or you're not going to, get that house. It might come eventually, but that's not even what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like living that life of peace, living that life of joy, like really, truly appreciating life as it is happening right now. It's just something, and I know the moment I get off track, the moment I start choosing something different, just how you feel physically, emotionally, like everything, just even the things on the outside start to show up that way. Like what you're feeling and focusing on internally does begin to eventually show itself fully manifested.
Yeah.
Physically, tangibly. And so choosing what you want, choosing, really sitting with yourself and choosing, like, I'm not talking about the physical things. They're nice. Like everybody likes nice. Who doesn't like nice things, right? But I can have nice things and have no peace, no joy, no love, no life and light inside.
Wow.
And that just means I'm going home to a big, pretty house with a nice car, and I'm still miserable. So I'd rather choose joy and choose peace and experience that every day and in every situation, no matter what.
Love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I love it. I won't talk over that. So we're going to conclude with that. I do want to ask you to share. People have asked about merch. They can't get what I have on, but what you have on is a little covered up. But far as talk to me a little bit about if I want to get some merch.
So right now,
the
because
bird gang.
the season we're in, you know, very exciting season, second Super Bowl for the Philadelphia Eagles, and we've got to see both of them, which is amazing. But I love sports, and that's just one of the many things that I do in my business. But I've created a Philly sports merch line where it's a nod to the sports teams in the Philadelphia area, because that's who I love and we choose to support and follow. So those things is mostly, apparel, stuff like that. You can get on expandingbrands.com. Expanding starts with an X, not an E. And you just click on Philly Sports and you can see what's there. You can also see all the other things that I do, promo items, and I work business to business a lot. And that's just the apparel and merch side. So yeah, really excited about where we are with that and the creativity that I get to do. I get to use in that and have fun with it. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Look, I am biased, but it's done in excellence too. And so that's what I want to encourage you guys. If you want to grab some merch and you are supporting this Super Bowl win, then definitely grab it. And even those who are crafters and different things like that, Lynisha does a whole lot of stuff that's on there. She's still supporting the girls with her design lab. She's working with more creators. So you can connect to her on her social. We'll have that in the comments, and just continue to operate. Look, we got all this green that was naturally around here anyway. Just in the scheme colors. Yes, you have something else?
I have another plug.
Okay, go ahead.
I am just more recently, something I love and enjoy doing is designing and using Canva to design. I use it for marketing. I use it for designing apparel. I use it for all types of things. There's so much you can do with it. And so I have just recently opened up a private Facebook group that is free. And it's called the DIY Blueprint, ChatGPT and Canva for solopreneurs. So you can join that group and then we'll do like tutorials. I'll give tips on using Canva and ChatGPT to make your business life easier, especially for the solopreneur who's doing everything. And we know all about that. So these two apps and software have really been instrumental in our journey as business owners and doing marketing and all the things on our own. So I just want to help other people do the same, learn how to leverage those things for their own and see how it helps them grow.
Absolutely. Beautiful. Thank you, as always, for joining us on the Elevate It podcast. Elevation Nation, you are amazing. If you're first time watching us, and if you haven't already heard yet, I am committing to writing 10 books. 10 books. What did I get myself into, right? And publishing them in this year of 2025, and not just any books, but fiction infused with universal principles. And so these books are designed as a mirror for self-reflection, inner work, and a guide towards love, peace, and spiritual awareness. And so it's going to help you align with your higher self, and that's what this really is about as we journey along. And so this is more than storytelling for adults. It's really about unfolding. And so if this resonates with you, I'd love for you to be a part of the journey. And so you can check out my new site and click on the tab that says join my email list here. And so that web address is IamChristianFJohnson.com. And the link is also in the profile. So as always, again, Elevation Nation, you are amazing. And our prayer is that good, great, and awesomeness flows to you and through you all week long. If you didn't get it all, it was just real good flow. And Lynisha dropped so many gems. So please share this episode, subscribe, and make sure you're following her on social media. All right. Blessings.